Hello again and welcome to the experiment video. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the steps that I did to complete the experiment, and then I'm going to show you an example of what I want your reflection to look like. Alright, so since the last time I filmed, I have now made my 3 boats. So let's go over the tip list again. 1. Get materials. Well, I have my water, I have my 3 boats, and there's one other thing that I needed to think about after I made my boats. And it was, what am I going to use to add more weight to the boats? Looking at the sizes, some of them are quite small, even though I used the same size of paper for each one. So it had to be something that wasn't too big and something that I had a lot of, so I could keep adding a little bit at a time. After looking through my house, I decided that for me, the best material was rice with a measuring spoon. This way, I could keep track of exactly how much I was adding at a time. You may do something similar, or you might use other different objects around your house. For example, adding coins to give it more weight, okay? Adding Lego people to give it more weight if your boats are bigger. But remember, you have to keep it the same for each boat. Alright, so I've gathered my materials, so I'm done with step 1. Next is make my 3 different boats. I'm finished with that. Next, make my data chart, and I showed that to you before. I'm done with that. Next is make a prediction. So which of these boats do I think is going to hold the most weight? Well, my designs are pretty simple, but I did base them off of real life boats. So this boat, I thought about a big barge used to carry lots of items, and figured that, well, maybe longer might help. This one I made to say, well, in the video, they had talked about how also some ships, they go deep underwater. So I wanted to shape the bottom, so maybe it would go underneath the water and help keep it floating. And then I have this design, which reminds me a little bit of a sailboat, and I wanted to give it a go. Out of these 3, my prediction is that this one is going to hold the most weight. Alright, I've made my prediction. Now, I'm going to test my boats and record the results. So, what I can do is, I have boat 1, 2, 3. If I want to give them nicknames, I can. So I could always say, boat 1 is a barge. Boat 2 I'm going to call it deep because it goes deep underwater. And number 3 reminds me of a sailboat. Now I'm ready to begin. This is going to be number 1. I'm going to place it on the water. Woo! All right, it floats. That's a good start. Now I am going to add in my extra weight. So here's my rice. I have filled it to the top. This is 15 milliliters worth. So I'm going to put it on. I'm going to sprinkle mine around rather than putting it all on. That's 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90 milliliters, 105, 120, 135, 150, and I'm going to keep adding more and more until it sinks. Now, to save time so you can get started on your own, I'm not going to go through with each boat, but let's talk about this. What if I keep adding rice to my boat, and after 200 milliliters, it sinks? So, 200 milliliters, it sunk. Does that mean that it held 200 milliliters? I have to go back to the number that I had said before it sunk. In this case, it would be 185. So there was 185 milliliters of rice in there before it sunk at 200. So then I can write down 185 milliliters of rice. Then I can do that for the next two of my boat. Be sure, this is something I should have said earlier, whatever you use to put into your boats to add more weight, make sure you have your parents' permission that it gets wet, because you are going to keep adding to it until it ultimately sinks, so you can find out how much weight it can hold. Okay? All right, we're going to pause this video, and then whenever I come back, I'm going to show you what I expect you to have in your video that you're going to send me. All right? So ready and pause.